All right, welcome back to the SilmFilm Script Discussion, Season 3, Episode 4, Part 3. By the way, I neglected to mention this thus far, but apparently, the registration for Mythmoot 5 is open.
Yes, that's true.
And early bird registration has begun. I think it comes in at $3.99 for the whole weekend, something in that nature. That does not include a hotel, but it does include all your meals while the conference is going, which is awesome. I just gotta say. Anyway, I'm going to put a link in the description somewhere, so check that out amongst the other links that you'll find there. Anyway, so back to work. So I'm really kind of confused as to what we're gonna try to do with the dwarves as far as an initial misunderstanding that gets resolved without anybody getting killed.
Right. It's important that nobody gets killed.
Right. Because it's kind of hard to believe this alliance if somebody gets killed right off of the bat.
Right. So we have to kind of work through what the concerns are and then how those concerns get resolved. So the first concern is just these are short, ugly people. I don't know what they're doing here. We're afraid of them. They're probably evil. Like, that first impression isn't going to be very good.
Yeah.
So
they are unlovely, to say the least.
From an elvish point of view, yes.
Yeah.
And therefore, there has to be something pretty quick that convinces the elves that these people aren't evil and that they are actually sentient beings.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that the dwarves know how to speak the same language as the Sindar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's going to be a clue that this is going to work.
So the plan was to have Mablung make first contact with the
yes,
with the dwarves?
Right, to contrast with Beleg from the orcs.
Right.
So Mablung is with the dwarves.
So how does that go, do we think? And how does that take place? Are they just wandering around in the woods when he finds them?
Yeah.
Like, how do we think that that's gonna...
Yeah. There's probably not a road at this point in the story. It's a little early for dwarf roads.
Yeah. They could be building a road.
They could be. If so, though, they'd probably be building a road between their two strongholds of Nograd and Belagast, which means they'd be up in the mountains doing that.
Unless that road already exists and they're building a road that's going to intersect with Doriath.
Okay. I mean, eventually there will be a dwarf road that goes across the middle of Valerian there.
Right.
So, yeah, they could be building that road. That would be giving them something to do that's productive and a reason for them to be outside their mountains.
And also, it's kind of puts them in conflict with Thingol.
Right, because it's going towards his territory here.
Right, yeah. I mean, they may not... I don't know where they're trying to get to. What have you done, Marie, that the police are after you?
Nothing. I just live in Baltimore.
Okay. So let's not get too deep into the idea of why they need this road. Maybe that's the way they explore. Maybe they always explore by building roads.
That seems unlikely. Roads are a nuisance to build.
Yeah.
And the dwarves don't have any reason to try to go to the coast at this point, do they?
Right. No, I'm not that I'm aware of. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Is where are they going with this road?
Yeah. Like, what is the point of this?
Okay.
Although, I mean, in the United States, in the early parts of the United States, or even before it was the United States, people would travel west, building roads as they went. because you couldn't support a group of more than like 10 to 12 people traveling without a road to traverse with like wagons and stuff like that. So that's not that unheard of. You know, like the whole thing about the Cumberland Gap, like Daniel Boone building the road out into Kentucky.
Yeah.
Now he had already been there, but when he brought a group of more people, they built a road along with them, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to support themselves.
All right, so let's look at it as dwarves need supplies, because yes, they live in their mountain strongholds, but there's no
Forests.
food or forests in those mountain strongholds, so they need to go elsewhere. So the dwarf road could just be a way for them to, because it's along a river, so it's an easy, like, flat place to build a road, probably.
Right.
So it could just be a way for them to easily move supplies from Assyrian into their home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a reason to build a road, which means Mablung would have to get all the way over to Assyrian to meet them. But that's, I mean, why not, right?
Yeah. He could just bunny sled. It's no big deal.
Well, that's the point, is we saw him being sent out in the last episode, right? Yeah, go see what you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, time has passed.
Yeah. So if Mablung runs into this very industrious group of dwarves, so like the elves have not been particularly industrious.
Right. They're kind of just wandering around the woods, throwing parties.
Right. Like in the grasshopper and the ant.
They're the grasshoppers.
They're the grasshoppers and the dwarves are the ants. That's clearly the way this is going down. And it's one of the reasons why they get mauled by the orcs.
This is the reason why the dwarves are more prepared for a battle, because they thought to maybe make some armor and weapons beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. So what does Mablung think? He's never seen a road, ever. Like, not like this. Like they saw, we talked about the elves growing,
building bridges. And things,
growing bridges and roads, you know, ostensibly. But they've never seen anything like this. They've never seen a paved road that was manufactured in this way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm picturing dwarvish roads being pretty much like Roman roads.
Yes.
In that they mean serious business.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so it should be kind of a...
And he's also never personally seen the orcs that Beleg saw.
Right. And doesn't even necessarily know at this point that Beleg met orcs, because they went in different directions and he hasn't reported back yet because he's still wandering.
That's
so
right.
He doesn't even know. You know, he's out of touch a little bit. Okay, so first impression would probably be surprise more than anything. Just like, oh my goodness, what this is.
Hear this for a ways off. So they clearly have the drop on the dwarves.
Right, because the dwarves are busy at work and aren't necessarily posting lookouts very far away.
Yeah, like, they probably have people on guard.
Right, but just really locally to where they're working.
Right.
Around their road crew.
Yes, yes. They have flagger force out there. Instead of the big stop slow signs, they have huge battle axes. Yeah, that's how that looks right there.
Yeah, totally. Right. So the elves have some time to think about what they're going to do.
Right.
And to discuss amongst themselves, because if Beleg got red shirts, Mablung also gets red shirts.
Yes.
Just Mablungs are going to be a little luckier.
Yes.
So they have to kind of discuss amongst themselves what they think they've found.
Right.
And there should be some clear confusion, and someone has to voice the opinion that these creatures look like they must be evil.
Yeah.
Like, that should happen.
Yeah.
And someone else should probably point out, like, well, but they're clearly intelligent because look at what they're doing. Like, I have no idea why they're building this road, but that's impressive. I've never seen that before. Like,
right. And also, there's a fair amount of them that are armed. Is another thing.
Okay.
Which they've never seen.
Right. And for the dwarves, it makes sense because they're pretty far from their home, so they want to be protected when they're out. So even though they don't necessarily know there's local elves here, because there aren't, these elves are from far away, they would just want to be prepared for anything.
Yeah. And they probably had run-ins with the Avari before.
Yes.
Which probably did not go well.
Right. And we specifically had said that they had met the Green Elves on the other side of the mountains and tell Thingol about them at some point. And we also said that, well, Ael had already known them too, of course. So the dwarves are not completely shocked by, oh my gosh, what is an elf? They've seen elves, but maybe they've never formed an alliance with elves.
Yeah.
All they've done is managed to like not kill each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, the elves that they've run into previously probably aren't even really worth their notice, to be honest. Like, they're not civilized, you know. They don't make anything.
There's no organized group. Yeah, there's nothing to trade necessarily.
They don't have stuff we want, you know.
Right.
Occasionally they might have a deer that they chase down in the forest, but, you know,
Right. So the dwarves probably consider themselves quite superior to the elves that they've met in the past.
Yes.
They have a, wonderful civilization based on their heritage and
on trade and
passed down from, whatever Ollie taught them. Like, they have their craft and they're quite proud of themselves for that. And the elves that they've met have been wandering, not really organized, not really possessed of material goods, and therefore they wrote them off.
Yeah. So. It's really interesting that, because not a lot of people think about the perspective of the dwarves in this situation, because from the dwarven perspective, the elves are savages, savages in the woods, not, and we think about things as being so of that being so opposite of.
Well, it's like like the 12th century Arab world versus the 12th century Western European world.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So I take it the decision is made to approach them.
Yes, otherwise the story doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But cautiously.
Yeah.
I mean, and Mablung's people aren't defenseless. I mean, they have weapons with them.
Yeah. I wouldn't give them good odds in this particular case, to be honest, unless they significantly outnumber the dwarves.
But they're not just like walking up to them being like, "Hi, how are you?" They're coming in cautiously with weapons ready, kind of thing.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, Mablung clearly isn't authorized to grant permission to continue building this road.
No.
So he's got to get them back to Thingol if this is going to continue. Which, I mean, I feel like the dwarves kind of would get that because they wouldn't let somebody do that to them.
Right. So the dwarves' excuse is going to be, we didn't realize that Thingol's claim extended this far.
Yeah.
we had heard that there were elves over there, but we didn't know you claimed this territory. So we thought this was our territory, sort of.
Yeah. Nobody's using it.
Right.
If we just give you some beads, will you, let us build our road here? Like, is that a thing that we can just do?
Pretty much.
We have shiny things. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. The dwarves should offer them like trinkets and stuff to buy them off.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate. So the dwarves in question here are going to be dwarves from Nogrod,
Right.
because that's the one that's closer to where the dwarf road is, most likely. I mean, it could be either. I'd say that Nogrod was the one that had the jewel smithing and everything.
Right.
So, ooh, look shiny does sound like something the
Yeah.
dwarves of Nogrod would do.
But it's not like good stuff though. It's like
No, right. But it's stuff the elves don't have.
yes, yes.
Like
It's
that's the
impressive to
whole
the elves. Yeah.
that's the whole point here. And
Right.
um yeah, so I think we want to show some distrust and some dismissiveness of like looking down on people from
Mhm.
both sides.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh,
elves are
absolutely.
like, these guys are ugly and uh, unpleasant looking, and why would we even care about them? And the dwarves are like, we are civilized and you're savages, so why would we care about you?
Right. Well,
Um,
they the dwarves, even if they speak some Sindarin,
mhm.
they probably don't speak it very well at this point.
No, just
I mean, there's
enough
maybe
to.
like one guy that's talked with Ale before
Mhm.
that lives there. It's possible that Ale has set this up as well. Like he's
We want to.
orchestrated.
Well, he could have pointed Mablung in the right direction,
No, what I mean is that he pointed the dwarves in their direction.
but you're not just build a road randomly.
No, that's my point. Is that that if he's had contact with the dwarves and the dwarves have been saying, "Hey, I don't, we're running low on wood and materials and stuff like that," and Ale's like, "Hey, I know this awesome place."
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, it can't have been done though with the intention of having the two groups run into each other, really, because that's a little too,
contrived.
not just that, but it would take a lot more organization to make that happen. I mean, Beleriand is a huge place.
That's true.
So there's no guarantee that the elves are even going to find the dwarf road anytime soon,
Mhm.
because elves
Well,
don't even live over there.
here's the thing. Remember we talked about how trees are a non-renewable resource right now?
Right, true.
Okay. I'll bet you that they're not in Doriath
Because of Malian.
because of Melium.
Okay,
And
I could
so
see that.
it makes sense that Ale would use his knowledge of the fact that, hey, by the way, do you know that the trees continuously grow in this area over here?
That gives the elves something else that the dwarves want, which is good, because so far all we had on the elvish side of the ledger was pearls, which are
Right.
cool and all, but you can only buy so much goodwill with, ooh, look, we have pearls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and if we're going to have the dwarves majorly helping the elves next episode, it sounds like the elves should have done something pretty impressive for the dwarves.
Yeah.
Well, not impressive, but something to make the dwarves interested. That
Right.
this is worth their while to go to this place and do some things. So if renewable trees is maybe something that would get their attention.
Yeah. All
right. So
because I don't know if you've ever played Minecraft, but the trees don't grow back.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do not play Minecraft. So
And you have to, if you can either plant more trees yourself or continuously expand your cutting down of trees, because eventually you run out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, is located where it is because prior to that, the capital just moved around. The king's court moved from place to place, in particular because of the trees. So once they got to a place and they cut down the trees around there, they had to move somewhere else because they needed trees for firewood.
Yeah.
So it was
Absolutely.
only I want to say in the 1800s, that they stopped where they did and planted a bunch of eucalyptus trees on the mountainside, which grew back quickly.
Yeah.
So they suddenly could grow it fast enough to keep the city going.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's a city there now. Whereas before it was just a bunch of spread out, moving around. It wasn't really a capital city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's like, I don't know, 3 million people or so living there, probably more.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break real quick.
Okay.
If you're watching us live, we'll be back in a second. If you're watching us on YouTube in the future, definitely like and share the videos if you like and want to share them. I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't, so you should. And definitely subscribe so you can get notified when these things happen. Check out the links below. We'll be back in a minute.